Say, kids, what time is it?
It's kind of like watching TV, but, in your car.
Well, I'll let you know. What's the matter? Dead air. What's that?
I don't know.
What are we recording?
Oh, it's on. It's testing. 1, 2. Joe's here!
Hello?
My gosh, Dark Side of the Stream.
You guys don't know how much money we had to pay him.
The band is back together. Well, Joe's a prima donna. Everybody, wait a minute, Everybody assumes Jay Stevens is the high maintenance prima donna.
We're all very high maintenance.
Joe takes it next level,
what
bro.
What are you talking? Both of you.
Joe takes it next level, man.
Full of it.
I'll let Jay continue to dig the grave.
Joe takes it next level, man.
Jay's a whistleblower.
I appreciate you.
Everything Jay's saying is a complete lie. It's a complete lie.
Jay's a whistleblower.
Joe's like
that's a great segue into
Joe's
this.
like the moody cat. Yeah, whistleblower. Whistleblower.
He's the moody cat.
Today, all right, I'm trying to get the ship back on the train.
What?
Look.
What are you talking? Wait a minute. Let's stop for a second.
Stop,
talk about
guys.
this.
We're on the air right now.
No, let's talk about this.
We're
Do you
on
have
the
some sort of
air.
issue with me?
We're on the air. I'm not doing this right now, Joe.
Come on, we need to get this out in the open.
I'm glad you're here.
We all love
I'm
each other.
happy
This is how brothers talk to each other. So just understand that we really do love each other.
All right, let's take 2. It's Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7
Yes,
The Cave.
that's right.
See, that's professional radio.
And we can't cut Joe's segue because it was a good one. You're the whistleblower.
I'm the whistleblower.
Today, the whistleblower and the grumpy cat. We're talking about the challenge.
We're talking about the documentary on Netflix.
Changing.
The documentary on Netflix, Challenger, which was my pick this week. And wow, like I was there. Me and Joe lived. Joe was in college. I was in high school. Mike was probably in preschool, so he doesn't remember this. But spoiler alert: the Challenger blew up. All right, the space shuttle blew up. I watched it live, man. Joe probably watched it live,
No,
right?
I did not.
No?
He was still sleeping.
I was.
He was still
asleep.
sleeping in college. He woke up to that thing.
Yeah,
like most of the world in college kids in 9/11, except for me, because I was working front desk at a hotel when that happened, and it sucked.
But this so
Mike, I'm sorry.
I'm sitting at home. I'm sitting at home the other night. I tell Mike, I go, what's this new documentary, Challenger Space Shuttle? I go, I know the story, right? So I go, whatever, I'll put it on. I was cooking burgers. I put it on. Next thing you know, I'm sucked into this thing. Can't stop watching. I tell Mike he's got to watch it. And Mike texts me. He's like, bro, this is deep, man. Incredible, right? It takes you down a rabbit hole that you didn't even know was there.
I am a massive space nerd. I actually have a group of friends that we go out and search the stars. We all got telescopes, and I've seen all kinds of stuff. So space exploration is something near and dear to my heart. And after watching this documentary, you really get a grasp of what these men and women have sacrificed for in the name of exploration. There's really there is benefits, and we have gotten so much technology through the space program, but you're talking about, 5 individuals, 6 individuals, whatever, strapping themselves in a chair inside of a metal cylinder,
sitting on
strapped to one of the largest bombs in the world, and they ignite that thing. And when they describe the ignition process, there's no going back from the moment that it's ignited. You can't just turn it. Oh, wait a minute, there's something in this fire. We're turning it off. Hold on. There are so many checks and balances that have to go on to make sure that these brave men and women come back, that there are teams of people that look into this stuff. And what the Challenger documentary goes over is how these checks and balances were pretty much ignored. And not just one thing, and not just one time. It was
I could not believe what I was hearing.
Years of progression. And we'll get into that and more with our Dark Side of the Stream. And
with Joe Weston.
With Joe Weston right here.
The moody cat.
No, it's
or the grumpy cat.
We'll call him the lovey cat on 104.7 The Cave. One of the things about that billboard is, like, every time we put up a title of a song, I'm always like, don't title it something stupid, you guys, because if that pops up on that billboard,
don't let me ever be in charge of writing these titles.
I need to send out a memo. Hey, don't write any inside jokes on that thing, because we're gonna get sued.
It puts up commercials sometimes too.
Yeah, I know.
It puts up like the whatever.
How can I hijack it to just put stuff like Jay Stevens
I
is
should've
the
never
greatest?
said
Yes.
In the
Man, I'm working on that. Jay Stevens
If you put in the
rocks.
commercial identifier that way, it'll show up that way.
If I put it there,
Jay, Joe, Jay, just stop talking. This is a bad idea.
that's what I'm
Are
doing.
we recording
Dark
again?
Oh,
side
yeah,
of the
we're on the
stream.
air again.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're making sure
great.
we don't have dead air. Talking about the documentary Challenger. It was Jay's pick here with Joe and Jay. And
Because I have a personal story.
yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear
hear
your
it.
personal story.
Always has a personal
I know,
story.
right? God,
He's a personal cat.
I've been involved in a
personal
lot of
cat.
stuff.
I don't know if I want to meet the
I'm the
personal
snuggle
cat.
cat. I'm the snuggle cat, man.
He's the inappropriate touch cat.
Hey, hire Jay Stevens. He'll be your personal cat.
No, so I was in high school in Hawaii from 9th or 10th grade, probably 10th grade, and I had aerospace class. And
Aerospace
Do you know
class.
how
And-
awesome the school was in the 80s?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
we barely have
We would
math
build,
and
like,
English
models
anymore.
of, like,
You guys are,
F-15
in
fighters
Hawaii,
and
like,
stuff, dude.
I want you know what we're going to do in class this year? We're going to build a spaceship.
yeah,
Kind of
aerospace class.
And that is
you know,
why, to this day, Jay Stevens is a DJ.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, you're going into 10th grade in Hawaii. Like, what's the easiest possible route I can
Aerospace
take?
class, hell
Oh
yeah,
man,
man.
aerospace. Yeah, I can do that. 10 a.m. class, right? So, but the Asian cat that was on this Challenger, Ellison Onizuka, he went to my high school years prior. So, my aerospace teacher was this old Asian lady. Her and him were buddies. They went to high school together. So we're watching in our aerospace class, they wheel in the little crappy TV.
Yeah.
We're watching this live as it shoots up and then it explodes. And we're in there with this lady who knew the guy, man. Now the gym is named after him.
What was her reaction? What was it at that moment?
I just think it was super like crying and like super somber and like, all right, kids, we got to go. Like, it was sketch, dude. I mean, I don't remember a whole lot because it's 10th grade.
One of the things
you were
that-
probably baked.
And I was probably stoned.
It was like, oh my God, this is killing my buzz right now.
Yeah.
I was watching the documentary and
The
then all of a
most
sudden,
disrespectful Dark Side of the Stream ever.
I don't know. No, we were no way disrespecting the memories of those who have given their life in any way at all. And sometimes we've talked about this. Is sometimes you got to make light of a really dark situation, and this is a very dark situation. That kid from Christmas Story.
Right.
When he popped up, I was
He's
like,
in
who
this
is this
documentary
guy?
too,
And then
yeah,
all of a
who
sudden
knew?
they showed a picture of him. I was like, holy
was there.
crap. He was the youth ambassador for NASA at the time. And they made this whole deal because then this flight, they brought up a teacher. And the whole push was to get more interest in space travel and the shuttle program. And then the next one, they were thinking about he could have been on the next
kid on
shuttle.
there, yeah.
They were like,
The
going to
Christmas
start
Story
opening
kid.
it up to kids.
Ralphie.
And then you show a kid like, hey, even a kid can go. Now it's just anyone can go. It's not just for test pilots anymore. It still should be technically, but they were trying to open it up to commercial space flight, which again, most of the engineers was like, we were so far off from that. I mean, yeah, you want to get investors and you want to get people interested in space and all that stuff. And they did. But towards the end of this documentary, even after they had blown up with all this stuff with the space shuttle program and get interested in space, by the time it was over, like towards the end of it, everyone had lost interest again because they're like, hey, yeah, well, shuttle's back. Okay, great. We keep doing it. It's no big deal. It's just like a plane landing. So that's when they brought the whole, let's bring a actual regular person, a teacher in on this thing. And it's incredible to hear her story and all the teachers that applied for this thing and all the preparation.
You see all the preparation stuff and you hear the families talk and you just see a side of it. Like I knew the story, probably everybody knows the story, but you see a whole nother side of it. And then you come to find out they actually knew there was a problem.
They knew there was a problem, and we will find out what that problem was next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Dark Side of the Stream, Joe Weston, Jay Stevens, Mike the Intern in the studio discussing the documentary Challenger on Netflix. Now, make no mistake, after the years and years of me being on internships and seeing welders, construction workers, and all that stuff, when it comes to building a product, especially from these men and women, their heart and soul goes into that stuff, and it's more so for people that are contractors for NASA or the military. They know what's at stake. They know what they're building is going to be vital to the protection of what these people are doing, whether it's the engineers coming up with it, the guys on the ground welding it together. Everyone involved knows what's at stake.
Yeah, that's massive responsibility on everybody's behalf.
The company that was involved with the rockets, basically, whenever the rocket would come down, they would go retrieve them and look at everything and say, okay, did this hold? What was happening with this? And what they started to realize were these seals called O-rings over time would degrade. They couldn't figure out what it was. They knew that in colder weather, it would be worse, but there were times where, and they would double ring these things, that the first ring would be burned through and then the second one would be there. But they all knew that if it ever got broke and that O-ring failed and it burnt through, all of a sudden you got a rocket and fuel and they touch and kaploom. So most of the guys, and not most of them, but a lot of the guys, and especially the engineers that work there, knew this was going on and had mentioned it and had written memos about it and said, this needs to be fixed. This needs to be fixed. Well, leading up into the Challenger, they kept trying to do things to fix it, and they couldn't fix it. And they didn't know how to do it. And they knew that they were also under budget constraints and time constraints. And if you need more time, that makes your budget go up.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, guys involved, even to this day, saying I would still man, when that director said I would still make the same decision,
he would have made the same call, even though they knew they shouldn't have launched.
What's wrong with you, old man?
Yeah,
you know you're wrong. He knows he was wrong.
Right now, I could not believe that interview with that guy, right?
Because again, he was under constraints. But what's a human life worth?
Dude seemed to not care.
It's priceless.
Dude seemed to not care because he said people die in exploration.
It's priceless, especially if you knew what was wrong.
I could not believe that, man. You knew there's a problem.
There were guys. The night before they had to postpone the shuttle because the weather got cold and it was kind of crappy.
Yep.
The night before, there was a meeting of the minds, and those who made the decision, a lot of guys stood up and said, "I'm not going to get behind this because the weather's getting cold. It's going to cause problems."
Yep.
So we're not doing it. It basically, all they needed was like one guy to stand up and say, well, okay, I'll approve it. And they got it and they went ahead with it. And they even said all those guys working at that company watching the launch were just sitting in the room with their hands in their heads going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And it's just horrific because most of those guys, even stood up and said something, still feel responsible and are still in tears about it all these years later.
And then here's the tease for the next statement. NASA tried to cover this up.
Yeah, they tried hard, and when they did the investigation after the explosion, were kind of told, don't make NASA look bad.
Yeah,
and
NASA
there was
tried
a Nobel
to cover
Prize
it up.
or Nobel laureate guy, poet laureate, whatever he was, that was involved in the investigation that basically said, screw that. This is why it went wrong.
And Sally Ride comes into play in this investigation. Big time.
Big time. We'll get to more Dark Side of the Stream next on 104.7 The Cave. Joe, Jay, Mike in the studio, Dark Side of the Stream, discussing Challenger documentary about the Challenger explosion. And Jay picked this one. It was near and dear to his heart. He went to the school that was named after one of the astronauts.
I picked it because I knew nothing about this NASA cover-up that they tried to do,
It kind of just got forgotten about.
Man, come on. I guess because there was no internet back then.
You know, they say if you don't learn from your mistakes, history repeats itself. One of the things that stood out to me after the end of this is that you would think after what happened with this, they would have learned, But guess what? In 2003, Columbia blew up on reentry.
Right.
So it seems to me that some people did learn and some people just will still look at time and budget as the end all be all, which is unfortunate because like we said, human lives are priceless. Now, back to what we were talking about.
They started an investigation.
After this thing.
Put together a team of people like from different walks of life.
Some guys,
scientists,
and they had a guy in
Sally
there.
Ride she was the first female astronaut? Is that what she was?
She was in it.
Sally Ride was on this committee, and she got a tip, right?
She got a tip, but basically they went to the Nobel Prize guy, whoever this dude was.
But the slipping in the note part.
Yeah.
Sally Ride wrote down some notes and slipped it to him in the hall and said O-rings and showed the shrinkage in different temperatures.
What happened with temperatures.
So he put a science experiment.
So he basically just went to the hardware store, got an O-ring, got it cold, and then got it hot and looked at what happens to rubber when the temperature affects it. Well, the night of the Challenger thing, there was ice on that thing, and they were breaking ice off the shuttle in that morning. They should have never flown from that point on.
Man. Let's stop for a second. Think about this. The piece that failed in Challenger could be purchased at a hardware store.
Yeah.
Basically,
You could go buy it at a hardware store.
Apollo 13, they got back based on them taking all the stuff apart and reassembling it like it was a Lego set, making new inventions to get them back.
Chuck Yeager used a broom handle to keep a door closed.
I mean, it's unreal what these things are built from. But again, if there is any kind of, hey, I don't know if we should do this because that's not working. And you still have people standing up, but then you got the big bosses saying, nope, we're going to go ahead with it anyway.
Ruthless, dude. It's just,
it's horrific. You feel bad for the families. You see, there were interviews with them, and it's just, oh my God. But again, at the end of the day, when the director said I'd make the same choice again, I just couldn't believe
he said he would have done it again, even though he knew things were wrong.
It's horrific. Never
Watch the documentary, everybody.
Yeah, never forget those that lost their lives in any of the NASA exploration flights. It's just it's a tough thing, especially for someone that's really big into this stuff. And you want to push the envelope, but you don't want to do it too soon. And I think in some situations we've done that. So yeah, definitely watch Challenger. It was eye-opening. You'll burn through it. 4 episodes.
Yeah, it's really easy to watch.
Right through it.
That's a bad way to put that.
Yeah, you'll burn through it.
It's my turn.
Yeah, it's your turn to pick for next week.
You guys have Hulu?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Okay, good. Once We Were Brothers, the documentary about the band.
Once We Were Brothers.
I've already watched it.
All right.
It's amazing, but it's also the band according to Robbie.
Joe,
okay, and I'm going to get into that hard when we talk about it because I was really pissed off when I watched because I love that band, but it's not just Robbie's band. Yes, he was the principal songwriter, but he could not have had that band without the other members in it. And I don't want to get into it yet. Watch the Once We Were Brothers.
Whoa, look at Mikey getting worked up.
I'll be fired up, baby.
Mike,
Once We Were Brothers.
He's a fired up cat.
I'm the orange cat.
There always has to be one star.
And it's
Let's just say there always has to be one
Jay
star.
Stevens.
Jay Stevens.
Well,
Don't forget it, baby. It starts out in stream on 104.7 The Cave.